And we are live now. Hello, bonjour, namaskar. Welcome to my channel. I'm Yagya Gaire, your host for this webinar. I humbly apologize for the delay that we had today due to some technical issues. For some weird reason, my schedule, the live stream was not going through. And then I had to try to figure it out what was the issue. Ultimately, I gave up and created a new live stream. And yeah, I doubt many of you were able to join this, though I shared the new link on the groups and all. But even otherwise, I'm pretty sure this webinar is going to benefit you when you watch it later on. So without wasting much time, I'm going to switch quickly to my presentation here, and we are going to dive deep through this presentation. Again, this was meant to be a question and answer style seminar, so most of the I'm just gonna quickly skim through the presentation and then we'll start taking questions if any. Um, so a brief about me: I'm a chartered accountant from ICI India. I'm a CPA Ontario aspirant, pursuing CPA at the moment. I have 8+ years of experience in the field of auditing, accounting, and taxation. I've helped many individuals and especially small businesses with accounting, financing, and their bookkeeping features, bookkeeping functions of the enterprise. Currently, I'm working as a business analyst with Air One Heating and Cooling in London. It's a heating and cooling company based in London, Ontario, and they have 9 locations across Ontario. Again, I have had experience with individual and corporate tax filing. Here in Canada itself, I'm looking after payroll filings as well as GST, HST filings, all those things. I've also volunteered in the past, mentored many students during my chartered accountancy education, grooming them with public speaking skills. And I've also volunteered as a Rotract member, and I've also volunteered here at Nepalese Community of London, Ontario. Please excuse me. Sorry. Okay, so moving on. So quick outline of the webinar. We are gonna quickly run through understanding the taxes and decoding your common tax slips. Then we are gonna debunk some common tax filing myths. Then we're gonna look at your T1 return, which is your core of tax filing. We are gonna also explore some tax credits and tax deductions, the common ones that apply to most of us. And then we'll talk about tax planning tips, and also dive a little bit into tax avoidance and evasion so we know the difference and we are not crossing that ethical boundary with the CRA, and also filing your returns, how and when, and then the frequently asked questions. So why do we pick taxes? I'm just going to quickly, as you can see on the slide, taxes fund our healthcare, education, infrastructure, social benefits, your EI, CPP, and old age pensions, and then your government spendings as well for the infrastructures. Sorry about that. Okay. So moving on, let's look at the common tax slips that you might come across. Your T4s are your employment income, basically your earnings from employer from your salaried job will be reported on this slip. Key things to note are your employment income right here, and your CPP deductions, your EI deductions, and then your tax deductions. And then also yeah, we're gonna see, you can see the union dues that are reported here and also your RPP contribution. We might be able to toss this later on as well. Then there is a T4E, which is your EI benefits that are paid. Some EI benefits have a repayment rate, so if you need to repay those EI, at a certain percentage. That percentage is going to be reported here. Otherwise, total benefits paid and the nature of your EI benefits would be mentioned on this slip. And if any income tax has been deducted, uh, that will be reported in box 22 here as well. Okay, next is your T5 investment income slip. This reports your dividends, your interest, especially from banks. If you have money in a non-registered account, the interest the bank paid you would be reported here on box 13, and you would need to report this on your income as well. Then we have T2202 tuition and enrollment certificate. This is the most common one. Many of us who came as a student would definitely know this. It reports your college name, your student number right here, and the time and duration of your educational program and the amount of fees that you paid for that particular year, which you can see at the top right here. Then again, many of for the young newcomers, we see they are into shares and stocks trading as well, especially crypto. So for those of you, you would have received a T5008 slip from your broker. If you are trading from Well Simple, you can access those from your Well Simple login by going to the tax documents. And if you are using a different broker, they would have their own login portal where you could access those documents. As you can see, it lists the date when the transaction took place, the amount that you sold it for in the purchase of disposition, and the cost or book value uh, that you bought the shares for. Again, remember this cost may not be that accurate, especially if you are borrowing funds for the investment, or if you had to pay brokerage and commissions, that may not be reflected here. So you always have to make sure you have proper cost that you report, so that you get the most benefit out of your trades. So let's move on to busting some common myths here. uh, uh, and these are very affluent in the industry, in the market. People, we keep hearing people say that as a student you may not have to file a return, or if you file through a particular person you get a more refund or more benefits. And these are some myths that we are going to debunk one by one, and as we go through the presentation as well, we are going to touch upon this again. But right now, so the most common one is I do not need to file taxes if I don't do any taxes. Again, this is a myth. You have to file taxes even if you don't have any income, and even if you don't do any taxes. Filing has its own benefits. Like you might be able to claim refund of whatever taxes that was deducted from your pay slip. If you are still under the basic personal amount, all the taxes that was deducted would be you would be able to claim that back as a refund. And also certain benefits like your GST adjusted rates, and also in Ontario, the Ontario Trillium benefits are calculated based on your income. So if you don't file your taxes, government doesn't have the data that it needs to compute those, and you may miss out on those benefits. And students don't need to file taxes. No, that's not correct. Even students have to file their taxes in Canada. uh, Another common one is I can claim all my expenses. No, we cannot claim all expenses. Actually, as a salaried employee, there is almost negligible amount of expense that you can claim unless you have a form T2200 from your employer that declaring your condition of employment. And those apply for only certain types of jobs, and not every jobs are eligible to to have that form issued and then to claim based on the form. Filing is too complicated again for the do-it-yourselves individuals who want to file their own tax return. No, filing is not that complicated as long as you know what you are doing, as long as you understand different tax terminologies, you know your forms and your slips and your schedules. Filing is not that complicated, especially because most of the computation the software is going to do for you. It's just a matter of knowing and understanding your eligibility for different deductions and credits, and also selecting or entering the data in the proper fields in your software. So some softwares they might have much intuitive interface, much simpler interface, and some softwares they could be really difficult to deal with. But it's more of navigating your software rather than filing or computing your taxes. Especially for a salaried employed with just your T4, filing taxes is very straightforward. uh, my spouse or partner's income doesn't affect my taxes. Again, that's another one that we see. Sometimes people want to file their taxes early, leaving their spouse behind. And I personally don't recommend doing that, because depending upon where your spouse falls, you might be able to claim certain credits for their income or for their personal amounts, as well as there could be a scope of using the income splitting rules to save some taxes for both of you. So it's always advised able to do your taxes together. But in case both of you are working, both of you are earning more than your basic personal amounts, you might still be able to file separately, because there would be a little to negligible impact on your returns and benefits. Uh, yes, so but again, ideally I would strive to file this together. Um, just so we have consistency and we know we are not missing anything. I can't file late. Again, that's another myth that needs to be busted. Yeah, you can file your taxes late. It doesn't matter. From the CRS point of view, as long as you file and as long as you pay your taxes owing with interest, and sometimes the penalty as well. uh, CRA accepts those tax returns. And it's still advisable to file late even if you have not filed it on time, because um, again, because of the benefits, especially if you are eligible for those benefits, then it's advisable to file those as well. Uh, and then those two common ones that that I wanted to bring out here is the one that we hear in the industry: filing with certain individuals gets more refund. Again, this is because when we speak with our friends, family, their tax situations, everybody's tax situation is different, but they think that just because they filed with a particular individual, they have a higher refund. But this is not true. The tax laws, rules, and regulations, and the benefits available are same. It's just the individual that you are comparing your situation with could have different tax scenario, different tax situation. He could be on a lower tax bracket. He could have lots of tuition credits that he could have used, or he would have earned more income to make use of those credits. Yeah, there could be many factors that could create on different differing amount of refunds, but it's not because of the filing professional. As long as the professional knows what they are doing, you should get the same refund from wherever you file from. Filing at tax clinic does not get you maximum refund. Again, I was volunteering at our community's tax clinic, and then this is another myth that I came to hear across. Some people they didn't show up apparently because they thought filing as a tax clinic did not did not enable them to get their maximum refund. Again, this is not true. CRA has a stringent process to verify and certify individuals who are able to file taxes. Uh, it may not be that stringent as a professional who has lots of experience as well. But if you are in a simple tax situation, all the volunteers in a tax clinic are trained, and then they are they are certified to file your taxes. So you can be assured that you have your taxes done properly and you're getting the maximum refund. Okay, let's move on to understanding your T1. This is basically the main form that is used to calculate your tax amount or the refund amount. Uh, yeah, you report your incomes from various sources and deductions. Like in the total income, there are different income sources that you can report. And then in the deductions, there are certain deductions. And to arrive at the net income, you deduct certain deductions. And then afterwards, you have your net income, which is the taxable income as well, usually. And then you have your credits here that determine the credits that can help reduce your taxes. Uh, Again, it's more of filing your own tax return is more of being familiar with your tax software and also knowing which schedules, and tax forms to add to your tax return. But if you have a fairly simple tax scenario, like you are an individual who is a salary, doesn't have much complex scenario, then you should be able to file your own tax return as well. Um, and I would recommend using a free software like Well Simple to do that. Okay, everybody loves money, so let's talk about how we can get more money in your pocket. And this is where we need to understand the terms tax deductions and tax credits. Tax deductions are nothing but tax deductions uh, are your are your deductions that basically reduce they could be your expense or investment that basically reduce your total income, while tax credits they don't reduce your income, rather they reduce your tax liability. And some of them they could increase your refund, but many of them just help to reduce your tax liability. And these are known by non-refundable tax credits, meaning they don't generate a refund if you have more credits than what your tax was deducted. But otherwise, uh, but otherwise, I think the only one refundable credit that we can see is the Canada Workers Benefit right now. That allows that that gives you back 1479 for low income earners who are earning between 26,000 to 32,000 per annum. Those people will qualify for benefit up to 1479. Uh, Having said that, again, some credits can be carried forward to future amount, like your tuition credits, like the medical, not medical expenses, but your moving expenses and all. So again, that's there to think about as well. Yeah, to make sure that you carry forward whatever you are eligible and to claim those in the subsequent year's tax return. Okay, moving further, let's talk now about some smart tax planning tips. How do we reduce our tax liability? Basically, you got to make sure that you maximize your deductions and your tax credits. So make sure understand and identify what deductions are available for you to take advantage of, and then ensure that you claim those deductions and tax credits. Some of these might involve adding certain schedules or certain forms to your return. For example, for the RSP, you would fill out the RSP schedule. For FSSA, you would fill out Schedule 15. And TFSA doesn't necessarily help you with immediate tax relief, but it's a tax sheltered account that provides benefit in the long run, where any income or any growth in the TFSA account is exempt from taxes. So your investment would grow and compound without getting taxed. Also, another planning scope is to time your income and expense or investments or even donations. For example, you could consider donating during your high income years. That way, you 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 at least are saving some portion on your taxes, as well as ensuring that the cause of your choice is being taken care of. So and always seek professional advice when you are in doubts or when you need more, or if you have a more complex tax situation, they would be able to understand, discuss, and understand your specific tax situation and provide recommendation to minimize your tax liability. Okay, let's speak about the tax avoidance and then tax evasion. Tax avoidance is a legal way where you reduce your tax liability, whereas tax evasion is missing out or not reporting or under-reporting your incomes or over-reporting your expenses as well, which is not ethical and which is not taken nicely by the CRA. That could be huge fines and penalties if you are caught doing those. So we always recommend to stay on the ethical side of stay on the nice side of CRA by ensuring that you file your taxes ethically. And here are some tips to do that. You have to be truthful and accurate in your tax filing. Ensure that you keep proper documentation for all claims and expenses. Except for certain expenses or certain claims, most of the claims, because we are under the self-assessment regime, most of the claims or expenses can be claimed as such, and CRA will randomly select a few tax returns throughout the year to audit and reach out to requesting claims for you. And in case you get audited and you don't have proper claims or expenses, you could be looking at huge amount of penalties and fines and interest as well. So that's something to be aware about, and that's something to take note of. Also, if you are unsure about something, always seek professional advice from a registered tax preparer or someone who is EFILE certified, or even your accountant who is knowledgeable on taxes. And don't participate in schemes that seem too good to be true. Um, and while just a quick side note on this is like there is something called discounter tax filer who basically gives you a refund immediately, but it's like a finance broker or something, but he takes a cut of your refund. So that based on the CRA's rule, like um, there is a minimum dollar plus a maximum dollar that they can take from your refund amount and then pay you cash right away, and then the CRA sends your refund to them. Those schemes are not in themselves bad, but I would still recommend not to fall for those, because right now the refund processing time and the time to get refund is really quick. Like within 2 to 4 weeks, you can expect to get your refund, especially if you are set up for direct deposit and your return is processed immediately. You can expect to receive it within 2 weeks. So it's better to wait a couple of weeks, get your full amount of refund rather than falling into such schemes. And CRA has resources to help you understand your obligations. Make sure that you go through the guides and the resources that are available at canada.ca website. And yes, if you have any questions or concerns, you can always reach out to a tax professional as well. So finally, filing your taxes, how and when. So most of the for most people, the tax filing deadline is April 30th. But if you owe taxes, it's better to file early, or at least pay the tax due early, because CRA does take 5 to 10 business days to process any payments that you make, especially through the bank or by check. So it's highly recommended to file early, avoid the rush, as well as it also helps to make sure that you receive your refund early as well. Um, but if you are self-employed individual doing your Uber, doing your own business, consulting, freelancing, then you have option to wait until June 15th to file your taxes. But again, any taxes owing, though, even in that case, needs to be remitted to CRA by April 30th. So again, yeah, it's always highly recommended to file your taxes well in advance. CRA opens tax filing late February, and yeah, the sooner you file, the better. Um, the quicker you can expect your refund, or to also, another thing to note is like even if you file early, you don't have to. You still have the deadline to pay your taxes by April 30th, so you can still time that. You can file early, let's say in early March, but wait until April 15 or April. Yeah, I'd say don't wait. Go beyond April 15th, but wait until April 15th to pay any taxes owing. And with the new rule changes from CRA, direct deposit now has to be set up by the taxpayer themselves. Earlier, EFILE professionals were able to initiate or change or update direct deposit information for the taxpayers, but now with the new rules, that's no longer the case. So you can either go to your bank's online login portal and then register for, find the option to play set up direct deposit with CRA, and then just fill in your personal information, your SIN number, your date of birth, and your name as per the CRA's database, and submit it. And it should take 5 to 10 business days again for CRA to update that in your in your account. Alternatively, if you have access to your My CRA account, you could also go into your login and then update your update your bank information as well. This is especially important if you are a newcomer or if you are filing your tax for the first time. I highly recommend you do this well in advance before you reach out to a tax professional to file your taxes, so that even your first refund, if any, would get directly deposited into the bank instead of having to wait for the check. And then the terms e-file, net file, and then paper filing. There are basically three methods of filings. Net file is for do-it-yourself tax filers, or the tax filer who are not e-file certified. You have the option to file up to 20 tax returns per year. Basically, on using net file. If you want to file more than that, you have to be file certified and you have to be licensed from CRA. With the net file, you need to have access to your last year's, or to whoever return you are filing, the last year's notice of assessment, which has an access code that needs to be submitted when net filing. Again, e-file professional, they don't need the access code from you. Paper filing is not recommended, but it might be necessary in certain cases, which is beyond the scope of our presentation today. So we're gonna leave it at that. But yeah, either you can file it through NetFile using free tax software available online, or you can reach out to a certified professional who would, in many cases, e-file your return, which sometimes is very quick and instantly processed as well. Processing and refund timelines. Again, we discussed, I think, on this. CRA has updated their standards. They have a dedicated web page where you can view their latest standards as well. But currently, for e-filed and net-filed returns, they're looking at around 2 weeks for the processing, and the refunds should be available within a week or two once your return is processed. Uh, yeah, I've already discussed the last point. You to pay your taxes well before the deadline to make sure that CRA receives that and applies to your account. Okay, finally, the moment that we're waiting for, question and answer session. Uh, I'm gonna quickly run through a few common questions that we get often, and then we'll move. Uh, and then we'll move forward with your questions, if any. Okay, give me a moment here uh, while I just take a sip. Okay. Okay, so one of the most common question, or this is more of a myth as well, is the Canada welcome benefit. People say you get 500, $6,000 when you come to Canada again. That's not entirely false. You do get some benefits being a low income earner, especially if you didn't if you come from a developing countries or you don't have a high income before immigrating to Canada. But again, that's the proper name for that is your GST HST credit um, and your Ontario benefits as well. And for that, you need to file Form RC 151 with the CRA, or you can also call them when they are not busy to report your last 3 years of income, your marital status, and they should be able to process your benefits application as well. Um, Again, for my clients, though, I generally take care of this. If you are first time filer, I fill this in, take care of the paperwork for you. But again, in case you need more, mm, in case if you are doing it yourself, make sure you file your RC 151 after filing your return. Uh, or you can do it before filing a return as well. It doesn't necessarily matter. You can do it at any point of time. A good thing about this is like CRA actually back calculates all your eligibility since you have become eligible or since you become the resident of Canada. So if you even if you file it late, you would still be eligible to receive all the benefits payable to you by CRA. Where can I find reliable information about Canadian taxes? For the most up-to-date and reliable information, CRA tax laws would be your first priority source, and then if you need further information or guidelines or helps, you can read through the CRA's guides and bulletins and interpretations that are available on the Canada.ca website. What happens if I do not file my taxes? Again, like we said, no filing, then you miss out on the benefits and the return that you might possibly be eligible for. What if I can't pay taxes owed? Please contact CRA if you cannot, if you have a big tax liability that's coming up, because yes, please reach out to sorry about that. Please reach out to CRA if you have tax liability coming up, and they should be able to put you on some installment payments that should provide you some relief. Okay, please contact. I filed my. This is the most common one, especially among the new filers or who have not registered with CRA before. They report that they are unable to sign into their CRA account. They are not able to register even once they file the return. Again, for this, you need to understand a CRA sometimes processes your return immediately. For some individuals, it's instantaneous, especially if you are e-filing. But for somebody, it may take a while for them to process your return. So you would always need to wait for the email that you receive from from the CRA, or if you have not opted for email communication, you would have to wait to receive the you'd have to wait to receive the notice of assessment from the CRA by mail. And then once you receive those documents, then you can go ahead and register for your MyCRA account. Again, it's not 100% mandatory you do this, but we highly recommend it to you because any communication from CRA is going to come and sit in the inbox that's inside your MyCRA account. Though you do receive a um, notification from CRA whenever an email is sent out, especially the important ones on your email as well. And if you have good relationship with your tax preparer who has access to your CRA account, who is authorized representative, then you can ask them to look that up for you as well. But yeah, otherwise it's highly recommended to gain at least gain access to it. That way you can download your own notice of assessments as well, which has very important documents here in Canada. Okay, what happens if I file late? Late filing attracts penalties and interest, especially if you have tax payable. So it's always advised to be filing on time. And also many newcomers and many people in our community, we see that they are having a baby. In such situation, make sure you apply for the SIN number for the baby and also apply for the Canada Child Benefit, which is a supplement benefit that is paid out to low-income individuals to, for helping them grow their child. Okay, if you have any, before we move on to further question, I have a couple more that are not listed here. So basically, with the announcement from the new Prime Minister of Canada, the carbon rebate has been scrapped and no further carbon rebate benefit is expected. But you would still receive your last payment uh, by, I think the new date for it to go out is April 25 if you have filed your return by April 12 or so. But even otherwise, though, if you file your return, whatever is eligible to you, like I mentioned earlier, would be paid to you later on once your return has been processed. And another common one is for the tuition credits. How do I get, or how much do I get, or is a big question that's asked. And then I just want to say for this, all I want to say for this is you get 15% of your tuition fees that is paid uh, back, but you need to make sure that you have enough income tax that was deducted to get benefit of this credit. Otherwise, you need to wait until next year when you have higher income and higher tax has been deducted. Like this is a non-refundable tax credit. So in case you don't have a tax refund due to tax deduction, then you would not be able to get benefit of it. Yes, that's all from my side. If you have any further questions, feel free to ask mm, in the chats, or feel free to drop a comment below if you are not able to make it to the live, and I'm going to make sure I come back to this video and then respond to most of the comments that I see here. Once again, I apologize for the delay that we had in our live seminar today. Yeah, not sure why. Like there was everything was proper, but still, it didn't. YouTube didn't allow me to go live on that scheduled page, and I tried figuring out, thinking I could get it worked, but I could not. But yeah, everything has worked out now. I figured it out. And any more lives that we do, I'm gonna make sure that it's much more smooth and much more better than this. So again, thank you so much for joining on live to us today. If you are not able to make it as well, no worries, go back and you can watch this video, and I'm sure you're gonna there's some takeaway for you. Uh, and I would appreciate if you could like, share, and subscribe, and share it with somebody that might find this content useful. Um, that's the least I expect in return um, for this from your end. Again, thank you so much for joining. Um, I'm gonna share quickly my contact information here for you. To in case you wanna get in touch, I highly recommend reaching out, connecting on LinkedIn. Um, by the way, that's me at the Nepalese community of London, a free tax clinic that we organized last month here in London, Ontario. We were able to file 87 returns. We were 5 volunteers on that day. And that's a really good number that we did. So again, thank you, community, for providing me this opportunity. Thank you all for joining in. I look forward to doing this again, and I hope that you have enjoyed this uh, webinar and you will find it useful and knowledgeable. I too hope to learn from all the questions and queries that I get from your end. So again, go below in the comments and post your questions or tax queries that you have, and I'll be happy to respond to them later today. Wonderful.